So what if we wanted to create a method? Let's get rid of this. And this is a little bit nonsensical, but let's do it anyway. We'll say console.log, and we'll say, hey, look, foo1, say hi. We'll assume that this is something we could end up calling on foo1. Again, by default, even though this is what we call a sequelized instance, we'll see, hey, look, say hi is not a function. Now, I'm not trying to call this on the class. I'm going to try to call it on this instance. I'm trying to call it on an instance, not on the class. So instead of setting it up on the class, I start out with, and I keep on saying class, same as model. What I could do here is I could put it on the prototype. And now I'm going to say hi. And again, very important that we have the correct binding. So this is set up as a function. And if I just did this, I would see the string undefined because nothing is returned here. Well, what I'm going to do here instead, I'm going to return, and I'm going to use my backticks, and I'm going to say hello. My ID is this.id. If I just did that, I would get the ID for this object, make sure I have the right one, and my name is this.name. So we're talking about foo1 here, and I could even say, and I am, and I could just put a ternary operator here, and I could say if in stock, otherwise out of stock. Foo1 is in stock, so I'll see that it's in stock. If I decided to do the same thing with quug, I would see it's out of stock. This is interesting. This is, again, this was a little bit nonsensical because there's not a real great reason to do this. And you'll also notice that there's no promises that are going on here. This is just returning a string. How do I know that? Well, I'm just console logging the result. But instead, what if I went over here and I specified similar? And what I want to do is I want to say foo1 find similar. What's similar? Well, similar is basically all the products that are in my same category. Now, again, this is going to have to hit the database. So I'm going to do an await here. And I'm just going to do a console.log similar.length. Not going to be totally perfect, but I've only got 3 foos. So ideally, what I'm shooting for is to have the number 2 show up here. But find similar is not a function. And again, we could set this up as an instance method. Again, how do we know it's going to be an instance method? Well, it's on foo1, which is an instance of product. So here, product, prototype, find similar. And this now, again, I've got to use function here. What I could do here, I could use await if I want to, but I think it's just a little bit easier to read this way. I've got a promise already, so I could say, hey, look, this find all. Well, which ones do you want to find? Well, I want to find the ones where the category ID, and again, you don't have to worry about the quotes here, sequelize will take care of that, is equal to this category ID. If you're in my category, I consider you to be similar, and if we go over here, we'll find out that this find all is not a function. That's true, right? Because this is an instance method. But there's nothing that prevents me from going over here and saying it's going to be product find all. And now if I go down here, I'll see, well, that's not quite right because they must be counting me, right? There's 3 foos. They must be counting me. And just to sort of show you this, if I went over here and I said similar, I'm just going to say names, and I'll say similar.map. And for each item, I'm going to say item.name, and I'll console log names. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to see foo1, foo2, foo3. Now, I don't want to see foo1 because I don't want to count myself as being similar to myself. This would be something that you could use. Hey, look, this is out of stock. Maybe you want this. There's a couple of ways that I could do this. And again, if you want to use async await, you can. But I think what reads perfectly fine here is to use a then products, and on a one-liner, you could use your filter. and say, yeah, I want all the products, but I want to filter them. Which product don't I want? Well, if the product has an ID, which is going to be equal to me, then I don't want it. I want all the similar ones, but I don't end up wanting me. I don't want me. Doesn't sound quite right. And I think I have this reversed because I'm only getting back foo1. I don't want the equal. I've been making that mistake a lot lately. I want the ones that don't have the same ID. So now I've got the two other items. You might look at this and say, well, can I run that right directly in the find all? And the answer is yeah, you absolutely can. This involves doing queries with SQLize operations, which I'm not going to end up covering at this point. But again, there's nothing that prevents you. You have a promise here. Again, no async, no wait, because I'm using my then. I have a promise here. I get everything that has the same category as me, including me, and then I filter me out of the mix.